fast to www.pastorpaulgold.com. Hey, have you taken a good look at the banks lately? On the surface, everything seems fine, but there's a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and those credit cards we all use. They're hitting record highs. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% return when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold Investment can come in and help. They're like that friend who knows all about keeping money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the finance world. Plus, they got a sweet deal on this right here. 1/4 of an ounce gold standard coin. They'll give this to you for this month. 1/4 of an ounce of gold. Pretty cool, right? Well, if you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. It's just a chat, no pressure, and they'll help you figure out if gold and silver is right for you. Go visit them at www.pastorpaulgold.com and take the first steps toward a safer financial future.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis delivered a candid testimony on Thursday, covering various topics from cash stored in her safe to her preference for Grey Goose vodka over wine. Willis shared that she hurried into the courtroom after anxiously pacing in her office while multiple individuals testified about her connection with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. According to both Willis and Wade, their relationship began in 2022. Several months after Wade had been hired to work on an election racketeering case involving Donald Trump and more than a dozen co-defendants facing charges related to attempts to influence the Georgia election results. However, a former friend and colleague of Willis contradicted her testimony, stating that Willis and Wade were in a relationship in 2019, shortly after meeting at a conference, Mediaite reported. Willis vehemently denied this, labeling it a, quote, betrayal by her former friend. Wade also refuted the claim, asserting that he was not in a relationship in 2020 or 2021 as he was focused on battling cancer. The initial accusations originated from Mike Roman, one of Trump's co-defendants, who sought to have Willis removed from the case, alleging an inappropriate relationship with Wade that included using his salary for vacations for the two of them. Willis and Wade maintained that Willis always reimbursed him in cash for travel expenses. This prompted a series of questions from Roman's attorney, Ashley Merchant, attempting to understand this cash repayment system and its tracking, leading Willis to disclose that she consistently keeps cash in her safe in her house. The United States Space Force, a distinct branch of the U.S. military tasked with safeguarding U.S. interest in space, has abandoned a multi-billion-dollar initiative to develop a classified military communication satellite. The cancellation of the Northrop Grumman program was attributed to rising cost, challenges in developing its payload, and a scheduled delay, as reported by Bloomberg, who also referenced a regulatory filing and sources familiar with the decision. Last month, Northrop's CFO, David Keffer, seemed to allude to the cancellation of the project during an earnings call, noting a decline in space unit sales linked to shifts in government priorities affecting a restricted program. The news of the classified program's termination comes after the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner, urged the Biden administration to declassify information concerning what he termed a, quote, serious national security threat. Subsequent reports indicated that the threat involved Russian intentions to deploy nuclear weapons in space, The Guardian reported. ABC News and the New York Times, citing anonymous sources, suggested that the security threat Turner mentioned centered on Russia's potential deployment of a nuclear anti-satellite weapon in space. It was also reported that the U.S. allies had been briefed on the intelligence and the alleged Russian capability was still in the developmental stage, posing no immediate threat. The groundbreaking private moon mission is progressing successfully. The robotic Odysseus moonlander, constructed by Houston-based company Intuitive Machines, was launched atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket early this morning from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The launch proceeded seamlessly, and, as intended, Odysseus initiated an autonomous operation. The lander has been, quote, successfully commissioned in space by establishing a stable altitude, solar charging, and radio communications contact with the company's Mission Operations Center in Houston. Intuitive Machines wrote in a brief update today about 8 hours after the launch, Space.com is reporting. Odysseus, roughly the size of an English telephone booth, is scheduled to reach the moon in 6 days if everything proceeds as planned. The initial step involves entering orbit around Earth's closest celestial neighbor, followed by preparations for a landing attempt on the lunar surface on February the 22nd. The targeted landing site is a small crater located approximately 190 miles from the lunar South Pole. If successful, this achievement would be historic, marking the first soft landing by a private spacecraft on the moon. Additionally, it holds significance as the United States has not visited the lunar surface since the Apollo 17 astronauts returned to Earth in December of 1972.